A reflection on the semiotics of Roland Barthes. Discovering the distorted meaning. Roland Barthes can be considered the initiator of an insurgency that proceeds nowadays, semiotics. In his works, Barthes presents a hypothetical and deliberate framework that incorporates Saussure's semiotics in its down-to-earth portion and the feedback of bourgeois belief system in its ethical and political portion. From 1954 to 1956, he composed an arrangement of brief articles, each of which was committed to a particular and apparently bizarre subject. A C at the titles of Barrett's articles appears the oddity of his work. The World of Wrestling, Washing Powder, Toys, The Face of Garbo, The Brain of Einstein, Decorative Cooking, New Citron, Steak and Chips, and Election Photography. Barthes was searching for a distorted meaning behind these basic manifestations of lifestyle. Concurring to Barthes, semiotics could be a field that considers everything that can be utilized to tell a lie. Semiotics holds the ensure of a coherent procedure in understanding mass culture. He acknowledges that texture and standard reality can never be taken for permitted and their meaning constrained on people. This meaning is never guiltless, but serves a specific reason that semiotics can light up. From his point of view, the act of spontaneity of lifestyle could be a kind of ideological manhandle that the bourgeoisie empowers. By mythologizing, the bourgeoisie needs to form the chronicled wonders that are its creation show up as in the event that they are characteristic things. For Barthes, myth may be a deliveried person component and is the way a culture considers approximately distinctive wonders. Concurring to Barthes, myth could be a stolen dialect whose work is to mutilate meaning. He accepts that behind everything seemingly straightforward and unbiased within the bourgeois society lies a profound estrangement and a mutilated meaning that the mythologist is committed to uncovering. A mutilation whose reason is to create self-evident the wonders that have chronicled root and can be effortlessly changed. Barthes accepts that the bourgeoisie, by utilizing traps, misshapes the meaning of marvels through the myth-making prepare and makes an self-evident and characteristic picture, and picture in which everybody ought to discover and recognize themselves. He considers these traps as such. Inoculation. Acknowledgement of an accidental fiendish to induce freed of a principle fiendish. For illustration, the bourgeoisie frees itself of fundamentalist challenges by recognizing avant-garde dissent developments. Hardship of history. Myth dehistoricizes and in this way kills the duty of man since he has acknowledged that he is confronting normal wonders within the society and not manufactured and chronicled and changeable marvels. Reenactment. When the myth cannot change the other into something comparable to itself, it turns him into a display and clown-like question, takes absent his reality and makes him a subject of giggling and mocker, on the opposite, a subject of outrage and contempt, changes over. Analogy. It could be a trap that incorporates the definition of the same thing with the same thing. This technique is used when the myth that's misplaced within the clarification of the wonders tries to induce freed of the pickle with a verbal trap. A clear case of this trap is the popular sentence, "It is what it is." Concurring to Barthes, this similarity makes a dead and quiet world and substitutes drive and control for reason. Not one or the other, this nor that. In this craftsmanship, two inverse things are weighed against each other and decreased to comparable things, and at last, within the title of something higher, both are liberated from fiendish. Evaluating the truth. This method tries to get at the reality cheaper in such a way that there's not much room cleared out for the application of insights and thought. Barthes has given cases of the application of this method in stylish substances. This method suggests a kind of inconsistency since on the one hand it claims that, for example, theater may be a otherworldly craftsmanship that cannot be caught on but with instinct in the heart, but on the other hand, a market-friendly adjust must be built up between the impacts of the appear and the ticket cash. Report. It implies a point-by-point report of the occasions that happened without comment. Barthes accepts that, on the one hand, the bourgeoisie turns the world into reality, that's, it decreases something authentic to something normal and self-evident, and on the other hand, tries to report it. Concurring to him, each question features a social dialect that the researcher's obligation is to get it. In his articles, he gives a strategy that can be used to clarify the cultural meaning of the best things to the foremost complex social components such as craftsmanship. Barthes brought the social inquiry about, which some time recently him was dedicated to the favored human exercises such as writing and enchantment, etc., to the field of standard of living and finished Durkheim's division of marvels into two parts, fabric and non-material. In Durkheim's division, which was of awesome intrigue to sociologists and anthropologists, it is accepted that social marvels are non-material marvels and material marvels are as it were objects that as it were got to be found how to utilize them. The outline of Barthes' hypotheses is that each sign features an auxiliary meaning in expansion to the essential meaning, and the myth starts when this auxiliary meaning shows up as something characteristic and not something chronicled. Barrett tries to clarify this by engaging to the photo of a dark trooper saluting the French hail. Agreeing to Barthes, the essential meaning of this picture is obvious. A warrior salutes the hail of his country, but it is within the auxiliary meaning that the myth of this photo is uncovered. The reason of this photo is to appear that dark and white individuals are not distinctive, whereas the reality is the inverse.